Exeter Chiefs lead the way in the Gallagher Premiership and look set on course to take pole position into the playoffs, which will be their 5th straight playoff appearance. Their relentless determination has seen them score 68 tries in 17 games so far, but they might be just a little bit pleased to know they won't be facing Saracens, a team they lost to in both the 2018 and the 2019 finals. What head coach Rob Baxter has built since taking over at Exeter in 2009 is nothing short remarkable. From Championship promotion in 2010 to 4 top 2 finishes between 2015 and 2019, including an outstanding extra time victory against Worcester in the 2017 final, Exeter Chiefs have firmly planted themselves at the peak of English rugby, and they make no secret of their desire for more silverware, including that ever-elusive European crown. So, what makes them so special? Well, quite a few things really. I mean, they've got Stuart Hogg, who can score tries from pretty much anywhere, and he's just one of a host of players who can make something from nothing, with backs and forwards complementing each other perfectly. They're stacked full of talent across the squad, with every player knowing the system, they know their role, and most importantly, Exeter know their strengths and they play to them. Despite their hard-earned reputation for multi-phase, close-range scores, with a solid scrum and driving maul providing the platform, they consistently score some of the most impressive tries, not only in the Premiership, but in world rugby. Indeed, they've got what's believed by some to be the most potent attacking tool in the game, the vertical pod. But there's so much more to their attack than one player standing behind the other, and to understand their game, we've got to take a deep look to every aspect of it. And if you retrace their steps, the foundation of their game isn't too hard to find. Although there's plenty who like to see the back of it, and it often involves that peculiar thing, the caterpillar ruck, the box kick provides the backbone to Exeter's strategy. Indeed, since rugby restarted, Exeter have received 26 kickoffs, and out of the 20 that were playable, they've used the box kick to exit on 13 occasions. And of the 7 occasions they didn't use the box kick, the intelligently placed Stuart Hogg or Henry Trinder used their outstanding kicking ability to put the ball back deep into enemy territory. So why kick the ball away? Well, it's all about the big picture and building pressure, both directly from the kick and in subsequent phases and set pieces, and Exeter are masters at playing the patient game. The kick itself rarely looks to regain possession with a catch in the air, and instead is kicked 5 to 10 metres further than a kick to compete, either looking to kick dead and pressure the line out, which they do with great success, or they'll kick infield with great height in the ball with the sole aim of putting the catcher under pressure and forcing an error. Of course, those mistakes don't happen every time, and when the opposition do feel the ball, central to the success of the kicking game is their ability to transition seamlessly between attack and defence. Notice here against Sale that as Vermeulen has made an offensive tackle behind the gain line, the other 14 players are able to focus on setting early, a key principle that enables them to bring line speed to the next defensive press. Outside their own 22 during phase play, they use a 13+2 defence, but always need wingers such as Cuthbert and Woodburn here reading the play and deciding whether to drop off for a kick receipt, or, like they do here, whether to come up and shut the gate in an attack. With the defence well connected and pressing square, we see Cowan Dickey making a lower body tackle, which is a key part of the defensive strategy. Then, support players have a sniff at the ruck, draw in extra attackers, but then remain patient, confident that a turnover will come. When they're forced to defend inside their own 22, they really ramp up the intensity on their defence. They place even more emphasis on keeping tight spacings, which enables them to shoot on the ball with confidence and make double tackles, with the primary tackler going low and the secondary tackler going high, both driving their feet post-contact to kill the ball carrier's momentum. Now playing a 14-1 defence inside their own 22, they're happy to commit extra numbers to ruck, but they'll still make sure that they stay patient, confident that an error is going to come. And if the turnover doesn't come through an error or a penalty, then they're more than happy to field kicks. And if there's nothing doing, they'll then revert to the box kick. And now, what every back's been waiting for. Yes, the driving maul. Of course, the purpose of all those kicks and dogged defence is to get these kind of attacking platforms. And Exeter absolutely nail their driving maul, with both backs and forwards getting involved in the action. And more broadly, the line out has been the source possession in over a third of the tries this season. Just like Mone's palette for its greatest artwork, Exeter attack with a limited palette of options, but with huge amounts of variety both within and between those options. And sometimes that involves beautiful simplicity, getting the ball to one of the back 3 in space and letting them do their stuff. But it's when they play through the middle that the real genius becomes apparent. So, what's the secret? Well, firstly, that limited palette of plays is largely based on the blocker, which every team uses as it gives the option of playing short or to play deep in behind. Indeed, they extend this into one of their shapes of 9, but add that extra man on the inside to help with supporting contact. But unless they're simply looking to maintain momentum and set a platform like they are here, or indeed if they're not building to kick, then they play with this wonderful fluidity, with attackers constantly moving into different positions and painting a muddled picture for the defence as the ball's becoming available. And because defenders don't have set attackers to go for, Exeter are regularly able to create opportunities to break the line. And then there's the most commonly talked about variation of the blocker play, the vertical or stacked pod, which involves placing attackers behind each other in a stacked alignment, which in part can help add some deception and make it harder for the defence to read where the ball's going. But you might have noticed that the two attacks you've just seen aren't actually effective. And the answer to the question why reveals the secret that enables them to knit together their attack. Did you see it? The key to the success of these kinds of plays is what the players who are in front of the ball do to influence the defence. Notice how each of these 3 attackers have hit the outside shoulder of the defender, and as soon as the ball's past them, they turn their back on the defender, and in effect, they become the hole. And in addition to being put off their defensive press, the defenders now have to fold around deeper to get around that lead runner, buying that extra half a second to enable Woodburn to burst through. And we see this ploy being executed time and time again. Here, of a more conventional blocker play, we see the same targeting of that player, who's just caused enough of a block to enable Woodburn to get another half gap. While this tactic doesn't always lead to a line break, if the ball carrier does get tackled and can't offload to a support player, the lead runner is able to affect the clear out and slow the possible jackal threat, and is quickly on hand to clear the ruck, enabling the attack to continue. Another clever variation that benefits from the same principle of targeting their own players in the line is the blocker of 9. Rather than using players already on the open side, they preserve their attacking width by folding 2 players, usually forwards, around the corner. Player 1 runs an inline towards the ruck, while player 2 runs an outline with an option of a short runner on his outside. Again, this support structure enables both players to immediately attend the ruck. And rather than being isolated plays, Exeter are able to piece these tactics together beautifully. You're against Worcester playing off an edge, they use a shape of 9 to build momentum and split the defence. Next, they'll cleverly use that blocker off 9, using the same players from the previous ruck to preserve that attacking width and target folding defenders with players they can't see until late in the movement. Now with a numbers advantage, it's time to make use of those players in front of the ball to hold rather than move defenders. And that's fantastic flat pass from Trinder to Ewers, giving him time to take, hold and give to Johnny Hill in space, making the most of the mismatch. Back on an edge, it's time for the shape of 9, targeting the small spaces and creating a blindside. Then, you guessed it, it's the blocker of 9, with Whitten working harder on the corner and doing a magic job of manipulating Beck cutting. I absolutely love the way Johnny Hill has got up from that previous ruck, has worked his socks off to get around the corner and deserves all the credit he gets for taking that offload off Ewers to score his hat-trick. And after all that analysis or that intricate play, the bit I love the most? Definitely strike plays.
Hit in, still give the ball going forward.
Slade, Simmons, oh that's brilliant, and Woodburn flying away, and then Hogg! Oh, in the blink of an eye.
This play uses many of the principles and themes we've covered so far. It starts with that big strength, the driving line out, which helps them to contain the defence and prevent them from being able to join the defensive line. Next, look at the picture Exeter are currently painting. Trinder up flat, which looks like a short play, which they often use with the maul splintering off. Both Woodburn and Simmons do a great job of looking uninterested, but gradually they change the picture, while all defensive eyes remain on the maul and don't adapt, particularly Yard in the 13 channel. He'll be concerned about the potential wide ball out to Hogg and will want his inside defence to drift out to him. And then with the defence retreating and all the attack in position ready to go, they are ready to pull the trigger on the attack. Trinders go Whitten coming short, who has his hands up and eyes on the ball, which is key to committing James to the tackle. James is now off balance and loses connection with Tuilagi, and that causes Tuilagi to jam in on Simmons, who uses his lovely double pump to finish the job and put Woodburn through into the gap. It's important to note that it's Hogg's width that's key to pulling Yard out, and he's on hand then to finish a cracking strike play. And just to prove it wasn't a fluke, we see the same play off a scrum. Devoto short, the inside defender loses balance and connection, a double pump from Simmons puts Woodburn through, and Hogg's on hand to link and score. And with all those wonderful attacking plays, we then come down to the last piece of the jigsaw. True to the philosophy of playing to your strengths, and given how much success they've had from the short game in recent years, it's almost common sense that they would choose the quick tap. In fact, Exeter had scored 7 tries in the first 13 matches before the lockdown, and have scored 7 in 4 games since rugby's restarted. The super strong and dynamic Cowan, Dickey and Simmons have been outstanding in this area, and we'll take a closer look next time. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, please do subscribe, like and comment below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts about future videos and indeed what you thought about this one.